Hello, let's do Netflix Starstruck for Wednesday, February 25th. We'll do the easy, then the hard. The easy is called Bone. Let's play it. All right, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. So, the way you play this game is in each row, each column, and each colored region, we need to place exactly one star. And you're not allowed to put stars touching each other, even diagonally. So, a star here and a star here would not be allowed because they're touching. All right, well, let's play. So, here that I'm looking at, should I look at formations first? It's never a bad idea to just start with formations if you don't have anything else to do. I do have something else I can do, but let's start with formations, pretending you don't see anything else. So this formation here is going to eliminate a star from this cell because this cell touches all three of them. Now I'm going to use the word C as like a more generic way of saying like you can't do it at the same time. So we can't put a star here because it sees these two through the column and it touches this one. So a star here would eliminate everywhere that we could put a star in indigo here. Or another way to put it is anywhere you put a star in indigo, it will eliminate this one. So it's sort of the intersection of those three options. This formation here, you can see that this sees the entirety of yellow and this sees the entirety of yellow, column and touching. Now this orange has been reduced to two options and they're both in the same column. So that means that the rest of this column can't be used. Now, before I move on, because it's going to eliminate it anyway, the other thing you can do with this, since it's two here, is this and this both see the entirety of orange. So those are also out. But now that indigo has only one place, we can just place the star in there. And then that's going to give us only one place in yellow, only one place in orange. All right. Brown is going to use up the rest of this row. Now, this is kind of the opposite. This row needs to put a star somewhere and is always going to end up in gray because it's not going to end up with those three greens, meaning the rest of gray can't be used. Now there's going to be a star somewhere in this second to last row. It's going to end up in blue, which means the rest of blue can't be used. Red is going to have a star in one of these two, meaning the rest of red can't be used. Sorry, the rest of the row can't be used, but also the two below it both see the entire thing. That places the star in blue, which places the star in red, which places the star in gray, and brown and green. All right. So I'd say this is close to being a plonker. The other thing you could have done is lined up this indigo and orange in these left two columns, and that eliminates everything from the rest of those two columns. And then that's going to give you one of these two yellows, which eliminates from here, and these two, which then gives you the star here and the star here and the star here. So that also leads you to the same spot. So not too bad. There was a little bit of formation usage, I think, or lining up usage, but mostly plonker. All right, let's do the hard. So I don't know, maybe that would be like a 20, 25-second solve going quickly. This is called unique teas. Alrighty. So the first thing I'm seeing is the gray and the orange here lining up. I'll draw that out for you just so you can see what I'm talking about here. So below this red line, I have two rows, which means I expect there to be exactly two stars. There will be exactly two stars because there's two rows. Now, we know that there's going to be a star somewhere in gray, and there's going to be a star somewhere in orange. And that star must be below the red line because there are no grays or oranges above the red line. So that's going to be one star. That's going to be one star. That's both our stars, meaning if you're not gray or orange, you can't actually have a star below that line. All right. It means there's a star here or here. What's next? This is a common formation. It eliminates from all of these. Okay, so this sees the entirety of what's left in blue through the row and to touching. This one does not. Let's see, one of these two might be key. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of neat. So if we were to put a star here, notice that it would eliminate from the rest of this column. If we were to put a star here, it would eliminate from the rest of this column. So no matter which star we pick, if we pick this star or this star, it's going to be one of these two for the row. It has to be one of these two. Whichever one we pick, it's going to either put a star here in one of these two, or it's going to put a star in one of these two. And so the consequence of that is that these browns are never in, because there's going to be a star either in one of these two or a star in one of these two, which forces these browns out. So can I follow up on that in any way? That does mean that either one of these or one of these is in, but I don't know which. Let's see. Can I do anything else here? What can I do with these? This felt like an important deduction. Um, oh, this is also out. Not that it really matters that much because it sees the entirety of blue. Does this do anything? So what I'm thinking about right now is like, okay, blue is probably in this row, but if it's not, it's right there. And I'm wondering if there's another like common deduction from both. But I'm not really seeing this doing a whole lot. Eliminates from there, but it does eliminate this one. So this is what would be called a look ahead, and I don't know how useful it is, but if we were to put a star here, this is what I'm seeing, then that looks down and eliminates from here, right? And that means that we have this formation, which doesn't eliminate from there. Why did I think it did? Anyway, if it had, we could eliminate that. Anyway, I don't think this is the way to approach it. So I'm looking for powerful star placements that might be helpful. There's something about... Oh, you know what? This really is because of your classic X-Wing pattern, what they call an X-Wing. I wouldn't call it that, but they call it that. So we could have analyzed it this way, and we actually get some additional eliminations from it. So what I've highlighted here are 2 rows and 2 columns. Now, if I asked you the question, how many stars are in 2 rows or 2 columns, the answer is fuzzy, anywhere from 2 to 4, right? If I were to put a star here and here and here and here, right? Then we end up with 4 stars. But if I put a star here, that takes the place of the star for both this row and this column, leaving us with only 2 more options for stars, maximum. And if I put a star in this corner and this corner, we only end up with 2 stars. So you can have 2, 3, or 4 stars. But I'm going to argue that we must have 4 stars because we've got... notice that the red lines completely cover indigo. They completely cover green. They completely cover gray. And they completely cover orange. So none of those regions can avoid putting a star somewhere on my red lines. And we know that so that means that we have exactly, not exactly. We have at least 4 stars on our red lines because one will come from each of those regions I named. But we know that there are 2 to 4 stars in red based on the rows and columns. So that means that we must have exactly 4 stars. So that means no more stars, meaning these can't have a star and these can't have a star. But it also means none in the corners, because the corners, if they had stars, they reduce the number of stars possible, and we're not allowed to. We must have exactly 4. So we get those eliminations. We eliminate from these 4 corners and the rest of the rows and columns that aren't those regions. Now, does that help me? So that would have also given these 3. It's sort of, it's a deduction that I didn't need to use these 2, like the deduction I had earlier, because the X-Wing gives us the more stronger deduction. But still, I'm not... I wish I could see what is it like eliminating this does. It does actually eliminate this one now, funnily enough. Does it? Yeah. So I'm going to use the same argument as before. If we have a star here, it eliminates this guy, giving us just these 2 left. With just these 2 left, this star is not possible. So if we have a star here, this star is not possible through the medium of orange. But if the star is anywhere else in blue, it just shares a row with it. So it also eliminates that one. So no matter what, we can't put a star here. I don't think that that's a necessary elimination, but I saw it, so I thought I'd point it out. So what would be the next step here? I feel like these eliminations are really important, but I don't know which ones are going to actually do anything for me. Orange is probably in the left column, but could be in one of these 2. So that's something to think about. Like what I'm noticing about these two is it lines up with red. So it actually, if it was in one of these two, it performs a ton of eliminations in these two columns. So, but I don't really see anything in common with what's eliminated by putting it over here. I mean, it eliminates what? No, never mind. I feel like one of these browns feels important. Is there something? Ah, yeah, this sees the entirety of what's left in brown. That, and that. And now these two see this guy touching in column. So I've almost got orange in the left column there. There's some relationship here. The problem is brown could be here. If brown couldn't be here, we'd have this relationship where we need one in one of these and one of these. And that would eliminate from the rest of the column and the rest of the row. But we can't quite do that because brown could be here. What am I missing about this? Oh, this is a tough one today. I feel like there's something simpler that I haven't seen. That happens to me a lot. Oops, did not mean to do that. One of these two is in. It does mean this can't be in. I mean, these are stupid look aheads, but I kind of take what I can get when I'm this lost. So if we put a star here, obviously this is out because it touches it. If we put a star here, this is out, which puts a star in one of these two for brown, which still eliminates that guy. So no matter what, this is out. It really doesn't help though. It's just the kind of thing I look for when I'm lost. And sometimes it'll reveal something interesting about the puzzle. What's interesting about this one, actually, is that it eliminates all three of these, which means that we have to have the top row be in this indigo, which means that we're in one of these two, which means we're in one of these two, which means we're exactly here. And eliminating these three also just puts it there, just for that's what's last in the column. But so that does end up eliminating here and here as well. And so that eliminates, I guess it eliminates the column anyway. Oh, I mean, I guess there's an obvious one, which is this isn't in because it sees both reds. So maybe that's all I needed. Not quite. No, okay, yeah, it helps a little bit because we can look at the top four rows. There's going to be 4 stars above the top four rows. One will be in indigo, one will be in red, one will be in green, and one will be in brown. This was available from the start. And so that eliminates all of these. And maybe that's the sort of easier thing I was missing. I'm not sure though. That means one of these two is in this row. This sees both of them. It's your standard formation, just 2-cell touching formation. And that means orange is in the left column. So that's out and that's out. Now this touches all of indigo, leaving only one of these two. That eliminates these two. Okay. Feels like we're getting close. This sees a lot of yellow. A lot of yellow. But not enough. Let's see. One of these three. One of these three. Oh, this also sees the entirety of indigo. There we go. So that's a star. First star. Well, star is one of these two. So we can get... Oop. I did too much. We can get rid of that one. What else does this do for me? One of these two is in. Interesting. I don't think it helps enough. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah. So in this row, one of the either we have a star either here or here, and in this row we have a star here or here. Just look at the rows; the rest are xed out. And so we're either going to have these two stars, or we're going to have these two stars. I would call this an X-wing over what they call an X-wing. This is more like what an X-wing in Sudoku would be. And so the result is that we either have an X here and here, or an X here and here, and that uses up those columns. We can't have more X's in these columns, so we can eliminate from there. All right, now that helps this row. This is it actually helps brown as well. Brown is only there. Was that always true? Maybe I could have just placed this one for brown. Anyway, seems like it. And one of these two is in. One of these. Okay, one of these two is in. That takes out from here. This sees both grays. Does that help this row at all? Did it help any columns? No. What's next? Wow, this has been a struggle. I feel like yes. Now we can do this. At some point that got unlocked, probably not recently. Left three columns, three stars. We've got the gray, we've got the orange, we've got the indigo. So not yellow. All right. So that's out, and that means it's in one of these three. Don't think that does anything. Oh, but this column needs it here. Okay, that's probably been there too. I'm just not scanning these properly. Here's blue. Here's orange. This is the other orange. This is green. Gray. Indigo, finally. All right. I think there were some easy spots I missed for a while, but I do think that at least that X-wing was extremely helpful. I'm not sure what else. Brown seeing this cell, which then eliminates from these two, or from this one, and wait, what was it? This one? Anyway, I hope I did everything right. Anyway, that was 14 minutes. Crazy. I'm thinking about actually, I think today I want to do this. I'm going to open an incognito and I'm going to solve it again. And I'm going to see if I can do some of the easier stuff earlier and see what was actually necessary. Because I feel like that solve doesn't really help too much the way I did it. So I'm going to switch back to, I'm going to switch my browser to my incognito one. Okay. So there we go. Let's just solve it again. And see, now knowing what's there, let's see what we can do first. So well, my pen tool's not available in incognito, but we don't need to use it. The top four rows are going to be indigo, red, brown, and green. So not yellow, not orange. We also have this, let's see, should we do the X-Wing right now? These two line up, so we can eliminate from all of these. We had that. We also have red here, taking out of those. Okay, so I think from here we do need to use the X-Wing. So we take out from the four corners, and we take out from this row, this column, this column. Now this sees all of brown, that's out, and that means that this sees all of red. And that leaves just these two in this column, which take out of those two. All right. Trying not to do any of the look aheads. Now can we do the right three? We could do the right four, maybe. Gray, orange, indigo, and red use the right, or sorry, the leftmost four columns. Gray, orange, indigo, red. And so yellow doesn't. and blue doesn't. And so now this sees the entirety of blue, so does that. Didn't, oh, this sees red as well. That's key. Yeah, I could have done that earlier. Just I can't see everything all at once. Anyway, that sees the entirety of red. So now orange is using the left column. And now brown sees what's left in indigo, and so does this red. That's key. And that gives us this red. All right. So now we only have these two left. So what was kind of the easy thing I saw next? Oh yeah, only one left in brown. That's the easy thing that's next. Two left, and we can get rid of these because of blue. And now we can get rid of this because of orange. I don't know if that's necessary, but simple deductions are fine. And now wasn't there... There was this X-wing, but I think we already did the elimination, so we don't need that X-wing. I don't remember what the last step was here. Oh, it's this column. We get yellow. Okay, and then we get blue, orange, gray. So yeah, I think just that initial deduction with the what they call the X-wing is needed, and the rest are fairly typical groupings and formation eliminations. But yeah, a lot of them are tough to spot. So yeah, I think a 250 is kind of a minimum time to solve that one. I don't know, at least for me. Maybe if I was to do it one more time, it would be a little faster, but I'm not doing that. All right, cool. Well, that's it for Starstruck. How'd you do?